What's up, millennials? So today I'd like to give you an introduction to Polkadot. I think so far this is actually the blockchain project that I am most bullish about. I'm going to try and explain to you how the network works more or less, also who the founder is behind this Polkadot network, which is Gavin Wood. We're going to talk a little bit about the Polkadot token, which is DOT, and we're also going to take a look at the technical analysis. Let's first talk a little bit about what Polkadot is more or less. Well, this image is a pretty good representation of what Polkadot is. It is like a blockchain of blockchains. It is a network on top of which you can build other blockchains. And these other blockchains are called parachains. Now, if you look at this image over here, you can see that there are many pink lines, and all of the blockchains on top of the Polkadot network are also interoperable, so they can communicate with each other, as you can see in this image. And also outside of the network, you can see these lines over here. This line, this line, this line. So that basically means that the Polkadot network itself is also interoperable with other major blockchain projects out there. Blockchain networks like Ethereum or Bitcoin, for example. As they state in their white paper, it's a little bit like many chains on just one network. So the one network is Polkadot, and the many chains are all the blockchains that are built on top of that network. You can maybe compare it a little bit with the United States, which is just one country that exists of many different states within, of course. So yeah, the country, the United States, would be Polkadot, and then all the different states would be the blockchains, or the parachains as they call it, which are built on top of that network. And what is so cool about this network is that the blockchains, or the parachains on top of the Polkadot network, can have very many different use cases as well. And they can also have different processing times. So usually, if you know, you might know it, Bitcoin has blocks that are created every 10 minutes more or less. But in the Polkadot network, some blockchains can have processing times of maybe one block every 10 minutes, maybe one block every hour, maybe one block every 6 seconds. So that can be very, very useful for all of these types of blockchains. And as I've said before, all of these parachains are also interoperable, so they can communicate with each other on top of that Polkadot network. So it's a little bit like 1 + 1 = 3. So why would you have a network of about 100 parachains? Well, the thing is, if you have those 100 parachains, and that is, by the way, the number that is going to be used more or less, then you also have 100 times the throughput. You can also help deliver new blockchains, because it can be very difficult to start a blockchain, but with Polkadot, you can actually kickstart your own blockchain, and this creates faster innovation. Apart from that, there is also pooled security. So the bigger the network gets, the bigger the Polkadot network gets, the stronger it becomes and the more secure it becomes. And of course, also that interoperability is a very good point, that parachains can actually communicate with each other to increase the amount of information they can process. And apart from that, also the pooled security is a big advantage of this, because the bigger the network gets, the stronger it becomes, and also the more secure it becomes. And also another awesome feature is, of course, that the interoperability is so great that the parachains can actually communicate with each other. And as I've mentioned before, the amount of parachains is limited. It's likely going to be 100, so there are just 100 spots for 100 parachains. And all of these spots are auctioned. So these slots are a little bit like a subscription service, more or less. There is a finite amount of time they are going to be available on the Polkadot network. And if they're not used a lot, then they're actually going to be taking off the Polkadot network, so they can make room for other parachains instead. In the current stage, we're just working with a testnet called Rococo, and here the people simply test if the code is ready, if everything works as planned. Then the Kusama network is going to be rolled out to have some additional testing going on, and here the community can also get involved. And then if everything seems to run smoothly, the entire Polkadot network is going to be rolled out, and then you're also going to have these parachain slot auctions. So they're going to hold these auctions probably every 2 weeks, as they state on this website over here. Then let's talk a little bit about the founder of the Polkadot network, which is Gavin Wood. And Gavin Wood worked as a research scientist first at Microsoft, then he also co-founded Ethereum with Vitalik Buterin, of course, and also some other people. And Gavin Wood wrote the Ethereum's coding language. So he had actually a very different vision for a blockchain, which is why he decided to leave Ethereum and then start his own network. And about 2.5 years ago, he was at a summit where he coded a blockchain live, as you can see in this YouTube video over here. Now, personally, I don't know anything about coding, but it looked very impressive to me. And it's also interesting to listen to this guy talk. I'd also recommend you to listen to the interviews he's had. I'm going to link some in the description, because he does pretty well in explaining difficult concepts in a relatively easy to understand way. So what about the Polkadot crypto, which is DOT, D-O-T? Well, it has 3 purposes. First of all, governance. That means that basically the token holders, so people who hold DOT, have complete control over the protocol. They make decisions about the upgrades and fixes to the network. And as Gavin Wood mentions in one of his interviews with other people, he says where it goes from here is up to the token holders. Polkadot is just the network. The second functionality is staking, and there are 2 important roles to think about here. First of all, there are validators. Now, these are the people that validate the network, so they check if all the information within the blocks of the Parachains is actually valid, and they receive the DOT token as a reward for that. And the second role here is the role of a nominator. So that basically means that instead of becoming a validator yourself, which actually takes a lot of time and a lot of effort, well, you can nominate other people to validate the network for you. Then you pay the validator a certain fee, but you're also going to get the Polkadot token, the DOT token, as a reward. So this is actually something you can do with a ledger. If you have a ledger, you can do that if you install the Ledger Live software. And that is also what I started doing about a week ago, more or less, and now I receive my DOT awards every single day. So I think annualized it's about 12% that you have as a return on investment. And the last functionality of the DOT token is bonding. What does that mean? Well, it's very similar to staking actually, but it is for new parachains, because the new parachains need to support from people to actually start their parachain. What you can do is you can commit your Polkadot token, your DOT token, for a certain period of time to a new parachain. It's almost a little bit like crowdfunding. And the Polkadot cryptocurrency has already gone up a lot in value as well over the last 6 months, more or less, I would say. As we can see on CoinMarketCap, it currently has a market cap of $32 billion, and it's currently sitting at position number 6 or 5 if you don't take into account Tether, of the biggest cryptocurrencies out there. Now, I personally see Polkadot competing with Ethereum quite a bit, and Ethereum currently has a market cap of a little bit more than $200 billion. So I definitely could see Polkadot going to that same market cap at some point in the future, maybe even within a few years, especially if these parachain auctions are going to start, and if a new parachain is being added every 2 weeks, then I think the Polkadot network could become big very, very soon. So as I've mentioned before, Polkadot has gone up a lot of value in the last couple of months. If we check out the graph, we can see that from the beginning of this year until where we are right now, we have gone up like 560% more or less. And what we are looking at right now, I think, seems to be a bullish reset. We are kind of going sideways within this range between like $31 and $40 more or less. And yeah, we are going sideways, whereas the indicators are going to be reset. So they are going down, whereas the price action is going horizontal. And that seems to me like a bullish reset. So that could mean that at some point we could see some more action, some more price action going to the upside again. With regards to the price action in the short term, I don't really have a strong opinion about that. I'm kind of like, yeah, a little bit neutral, I would say. I think it might still continue to go sideways for a little bit longer, maybe even until we meet this 55 exponential moving average, this white line over here. Maybe until we touch that, maybe we go back a little bit to like $32 more or less, and then we could see that bullish reset and going back to the upside. And if you would like to get into the Polkadot cryptocurrency, maybe think about dollar cost averaging. And of course, this is not financial advice, but maybe you can buy a little bit now, maybe buy a little bit in a few weeks from now, a few weeks after that, so you can dollar cost average into your position. So that is my introduction to Polkadot for you. I hope you found some value in this video. If you did, please consider sharing this video with your friends who are also interested in cryptocurrencies. And also let me know in the comments which altcoin are you most bullish about right now. With that being said, thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye!